subscribe.
なんだか気の毒な生き物出てきた!
Kawaii. Kaizoku.
So as you all may know, but in case you don't, in April 1st, 2026, there's going to be a rotation happening in the One Piece card game. If you guys aren't aware already, all of your cards have a block number on the bottom right of the card, as seen on screen below here, right on this gum little icon here. Anything that's in block 1 is going to be rotated out. There's going to be like an eternal format where all the cards are available to use, plus they're going to unban some cards. But for competitive constructed play, it's going to be from block 2 onward, and then every year one block's going to fall out. So I thought I'm going to use this video as a chance to just take a look at what's rotating out, what is going to get hit by it, if there's going to be really good staples that we're not going to have anymore, and then maybe talk about the implications of that. There is a list of cards that are evergreen. Anything that's gotten a manga rare in this list here will forever be allowed, regardless of the set that it was printed in, regardless of whatever block number is on the card. And also there's going to be cards that were printed, I think these were in PRB01, that actually should be updated to block 4, right? All these cards will count as block 4, despite the card not showing it. And yeah, I have it all in my deck builder. There's a block filter, so we can take a look at that. Oh, but first a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by TCGX. TCGX offers the fastest card search and the most accurate pricing for your collection, so you know what every card is worth before you buy, sell, or trade. Check it out on tcgx.gg or download the TCGX app. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium customs created by featured artists with their own signature lines. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code KAIZOKU for 15% off your order. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. See the most up-to-date Eastern and Western deck lists on gumgum.gg, updated daily. Be the first to see deck lists for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, so let's filter the deck builder for block 1 cards here. And this is on my website, kaizoku.com. So yeah, it looks like OP01. Some of the cards were updated to block 4 though, just FYI. But yeah, we're going to be losing out on some of these leaders here, right? Red Zoro, the Red Green Law, Red Green Luffy. In terms of red cards, the Otama was a staple red 2k counter for a long time, but these days not as universally used. It's still a great card, right? Minus 2k for 1 Dawn is really strong for a 2k counter. This Sanji is going to be sorely missed though. It's one of the de facto 2k counters for a lot of red decks. The fact that it can make you take life to get to 0 for like a Roger play is really nice and useful. Just out of curiosity, so I added this like card info button to my deck builder. The last time this card was used in a tournament placing deck was in OP13. Rayleigh deck ran it. So even up until December of last year, of the most recent format before OP14, this card is still used, right? Rush Zoro is going to be sorely missed too. This is a very strong card. It's a vanilla stat line, 3 cost, 5k attacker. A lot of red decks do run it. I think at the moment, like the OP14 Law runs this card. Who else would run it? So the last deck it was used in was also in a Rayleigh deck. Might have been the same person. I didn't remember the name, but yeah, I got 7th place in a Rayleigh deck at the Dusseldorf Bandai Card Game Fest Finals. So we're not going to have this vanilla 3 cost rush option anymore in Straw Hat, or I think in general too. Red Hawk was used in Shanks for a bit. We can even take a look. Yep, Shanks back in OP12 while he was still meta, and then he dropped off the face of the earth. Roundtable is going to be something that I think people are catching onto Roundtable right now, just because it's great into decks like Mihawk and stuff like that. There's a lot of big bodies in the meta right now, so this is getting rotated out. No recent tournament wins though, but I do believe this is a card that's used heavily in Red Green Luffy. So that's unfortunate. Minus 10k for Fordon is pretty good. Oh, Radical Beam's rotating out. That's big, right? I think even Ace runs this card. Yeah, Dusseldorf Bandai Card Game Fest Finals. The Ace player won the entire tournament with copies of this card in their deck. There's a nice alt art version in case you want to see it with Frankie actually in it. I guess technically he's here too. Yeah, never mind. He's in both. But yeah, have there been enough 4k counters for 1 Dawn that have replaced this? Yeah, there are some, right? There's some that are like type locked to Supernova and stuff like that, or just needing to have like a 8 cost on board. But definitely Radical Beam is the most like general and easy to use. You just need to have 2 life, right? It's pretty easy prerequisite to meet there. Odin gets rotated out the leader. I don't think anything in green. Oh, we're gonna lose the Momo searcher, so this is gonna be interesting for like Yamato decks in particular, right? That's one less searcher for the deck. There is an Otama 2k counter on play searcher, but it only searches for green Wano type cards. This one can fill in the gap for your dual color Wano deck. So like Yamato can search yellow, Odin can search red. So yeah, this is gonna be sorely missing in the Wano package. And then red green Odin's gonna lose out on this Denjiro, but they could easily print out more better 5 cost. There might even be enough better 5 cost now to forgo Denjiro. The blocker law is gonna be out. Last time he was used is OP13, right, in a Zoro and Sanji deck, so that's very recently. So just being able to bounce a card back to your hand to play it out was a really strong effect for a long time, also being a blocker itself. But yes, sadly this is going to be gone. 8 cost kid is going to be huge. For a long time, Fortress decks were like a valid strategy. It's just that I think, when's the last time he was used? PRB02 onward, where Bonnie ditched 8 cost kid, I guess, or maybe Bonnie doesn't top as well anymore. But yeah, now we have Law and Beppo, we have green decks that don't Fortress up, like with green Mihawk and green Zoro. So this kind of feels like an entire strategy getting rotated out. Because yeah, a lot of green decks were just like protect the 8 cost kid kind of decks for a while. Even Red Green Smoker was that kind of deck too for a bit. What else? Paradise Waterfall rotating out, that's gonna be sorely missed, right? It's a good utility card. It can untap one of your rested characters and counter for 2k. Last time it was used in OP13 in a Zoro deck, right? This card still saw use up until now. Punk Gibson rotating out. I don't think people run this card as much anymore, but back in the day, it was the best 4k counter for 2 Dawn. Oh, OP12, Luffy deck ran it. I'm just curious, I want to take a look at this deck list. I was green, purple, Luffy. In blue, we're losing the Doflamingo leader entirely, even though he got his own starter deck. I would have thought that since he got a starter deck, they would update his block number, but I guess not. So yeah, this entire leader is going to be out. But last time we've seen Doflamingo was PRB02, right? Since he lost that Jinbei and then everything else got power crept. While he was top meta for a set, he's no longer in that spot. Also losing the Kaido and Croc, but these two were never meta leaders at all. For the rest of blue, nothing really. Oh, and Mihawk, that's going to be a pretty big hit to blue purple Luffy. Yeah, as you can see, all these blue purple Luffys run it, even up until OP13, right? Mihawk was just a way to bottom deck something, which is now even more important than ever because there's a lot of cards that have on KO effects. So Mihawk just being able to bottom deck them, circumvented that, is a nice stat line. You can cheat it out with a 9 cost Sanji, and there's a prize card version of Mihawk. Dang, look at this, 900 bucks each. Blocker Doflamingo was a pretty generic and premier, like 3 cost chump blocker for blue decks for a while, right up until PRB02, used in a Luffy deck. Blue purple Luffy helps you rearrange top cards of your deck too, right? Sets up your Sanji, sets up what you're gonna draw with Gum Gum Giant and stuff like that. Oh, Doflamingo's also losing the Perona searcher, not searcher, like rearranger. So yeah, I guess the Doflamingo deck's just gonna be dead. Let's see, there's also some of these counter events. Yeah, I was just using Doflamingo. Yeah, I guess since Nami got errata to not be able to use non-East blue cards, she doesn't really miss losing these. She already lost these. But yeah, it was all Nami cards in the past when it was still allowed to be used in the deck. In purple, we lose the leader King, which nobody ran anyway. There's also the 10 cost Kaido, so the new Kaido strategy that just got reintroduced back into the meta is going to be sorely gone again, right? You can't board wipe and protect your 6 cost King and your 7 cost Kaidos anymore. So I wonder what the KO evasion is for those 2 cards. It's good in general, but yeah, it synergized really well with this board wipe Kaido because you could keep them on board after board wiping everything else. Everything else in purple is kind of not really used, right? You lose access to X-Drake as a 2k counter, but no recent tournament decks ran it anyway. I guess Thunderbagwa, yeah. Green purple Luffy still runs this card even up until OP13, and this card is rotating out, so you're sorely going to be missing a way to ramp and protect your life. Oh yeah, blue purple Luffy runs this card like to a high degree as well, so that's going to be a pretty big hit, I think. Well, no, there is a new Doflamingo 4k counter that kind of does the same thing, but it's a little more finicky, right? Because you need it relied on your opponent's character's powers and not on your own life. Okay, we're moving on to OP02. So we're losing Newgate as a leader. Oh, we're losing 9-drop Newgate as well, which is run in red blue Ace, so this is going to be a big hit to Ace. But there is going to be, I believe there's like 2 cards now that they've revealed that make your leader plus 2k power, right? There's like there's a Zeph when attacking does that, and then there's a new Zoro in OP15, or no, it's EB04 that does that, right? This Zoro here does it on play, this Zeph does it when attacking. Oh, it makes the base power 7000, it doesn't add 2k power. So yeah, the Zoro could be a replacement for that Newgate, but it's not searchable because it's not a Whitebeard part. You're also losing Jozu as a 2k counter, you're also losing Makino as a 2k counter, so a lot of the weenie decks will lose out on a free 3k power for 1 Dawn. What's the last deck that used used it. Yeah, even Ace uses it, right, to buff their like Ezos and stuff, I guess. I would have to assume. Also, there's like a Zoro deck here. Is this red Zoro? Indeed it is. Yeah, this is going to be hit pretty hard. Losing Makino means that these Namis and Kurehas are going to be harder to attack with. And then everything else is not really used anymore. We're losing Kinemon as a leader, but Kinemon has not been relevant in a very long time. Also, the green-blue Sanji. We're losing a lot of the film package here, right? The Searcher, Nami. I don't believe they're being used much anymore. Oh, there's an Uta that topped at TAC Games on October Regionals in PRB02 format. But yeah, we're losing this Nami. We're losing the 7-drop Luffy too that can cheat out another film type card. So I wonder how the Uta deck is going to run without this package. There were new film cards in OP13, but I think those cards synergize more with the red green Luffy. These synergize more with the Uta. Losing Ivankov as a leader too, even though Ivankov got like some new cards in EB04, I believe. Right, there were some Impel Down cards, so that's kind of interesting. There's some Impel Down Vanillas too that I don't think Buggy runs anymore. Yeah, but no, nothing else from blue is really going to be sorely missed here. In purple, we lose the leader Magellan and then the Zephyr leader. Character-wise, there's the Magellan that grew back into popularity recently just because it counters Emu really well. Lim runs it to a pretty good degree too, right? In OP13, there's a topping Lim that ran this Magellan to counter Emu, I would have to assume. So that's going to be gone. Judgment of Hell, also used in Lim, I believe. Yeah, used heavily in Lim and green-purple Luffy. So this is going to be on the way out. And that's it for purple. In black, we lose the Smoker, even though he got a new starter deck. We also lose the Kuzan too. So this is a very strong cost reduction tool that every deck's going to lose access to. Last time it was used though was in a Gecko Moria deck in PRB02. This is the black Gecko Moria, not the black and yellow one. Removal has been kind of dead for a while too, so yeah, not going to be as sorely missed, but like definitely if you still were coping on removal, one of the biggest losses that you're going to get hit with this Kuzan being rotated out. Oh, also the Tsuru, the 2k counter Tsuru that just gives -2 cost for 1 Dawn, that's going to be sorely missed as well. This Borsalino was pretty good for a while too, but last time we've seen him in a deck is EB02 in a Lucci deck. But yeah, it was just a blocker that can't be removed, but like these days everything in their moms can't be removed, so it's not as special as it was in the past. Ice Age rotating out, but this card was banned anyway, 1 Dawn for -5 cost. But if I remember correctly, this is going to be allowed again in the Eternal format. We're also losing 10 cost Kuzan. There were some decks that utilize him as a strategy, right? So Sakazuki in OP12, and that is OP02. So OP03 is also getting rotated out. We're losing the Ace leader. We're losing the red Ezo Searcher, which these days isn't run too much anymore just because we have options with the blue one, but I guess you could run both, which these Ace players do, the red-blue Ace players. So yeah, it could be a decent hit to some of these. I'm just curious on the ratios. What did they run it at? Okay, it was just a 1-of, right? This starter deck 22 Ezo Searcher is just replace it entirely. But if you did need like a 5th or 6th copy, you have the red one to fall back on. There's also the 5 cost Marco, which we haven't really seen used that much these days anyway. Yeah, I was using Shanks back in OP12 the last time we saw it, but it used to be like one of the best cards in the format. Ace loses out on Flame Emperor, but no recent tournament decks that ran it. And then there's a bunch of utility Whitebeard Pirates cards here, the events that are going to get rotated out as well. Kuro's getting rotated out, even though he got a new card in EB04. What the heck? Why they keep doing that? Also, Arlong's rotating out. Anything in East Blue that is worth noting? The Nami Searcher, which was used in Zoro for a bit, is rotating out. So East Blue will not have a non-play Searcher, if I can remember correctly. I don't think there were any other ones besides this Nami. This Nami doesn't have an alt art? Interesting. Yeah, it's the only version of this card. But no, nothing else will be sorely missed from this package. This Nami's banned anyway. Rush Usopp gonna be rotated out. Zeph, yeah, these cards not really used in any decks, but Pilaf is gonna get rotated out. That's pretty huge, right? Especially for like buggy decks like that. And Nami, right? The Nami that we're allowed to use will lose out on a way to just draw 2 cards. 3000 Worlds too. Pretty good removal tool in a blue-purple Sanji deck is going to get rotated out. Also Gungam Giant Gavel for the Nami deck also rotating out. And then in purple, it was the Iceberg deck, so I'm pretty sure none of these cards are going to be missed at all. I guess this Khalifa was run in for a bit, right? Well, not in a long time. It used to be like a purple Luffy 2k counter way back in the day. Poly too. Poly was an option for purple Luffy. Top knot, some decks still run, right? Black purple Luffy. Oh, Lim used to run it in OP10. But yeah, it was a way to bottom deck a 4-drop. But no, nothing else in purple would really mattered here. And then there's the Restand, Lucci, and then the black yellow Big Mom. Those are rotating out. Isho was used for a bit, not in recent memory though. Kaku and Khalifa, yeah, this will gut the OP07 Lucci. that relied on the CP package. Yeah, last time we've seen it, it was Lucci in OP12 when you could still KO stuff in the meta. Right, this was before Emu existed. Kaku was used last time in OP09, so it's even further back. We're losing brand new, that's pretty big. It's a Navy Searcher that fills your trash. Yeah, Kobe and PRB02 ran that card. There's so many versions of this brand new for some reason, right? There's, what is this, 10 altards here? Air Door is going to be gone, so a lot of the CP type tribal decks are going to be hit by this. Ennie's Lobby 2, and then Katakuri is rotating out, so yeah, we've seen Katakuri played even as far recently as PRB02, but I think right now yellow has power crept itself to a point that like he can't compete with like Boa Hancock and then the starter deck 29 Luffy. But what else is lost in yellow? So a lot of the trigger Big Mom parts like Cracker is out. Yeah, Katakuri used to run that. Perospero out as well in the Katakuri deck. 10 cost Big Mom's rotating out. Oh my god. Used in Pudding in OP13. So Pudding's gonna need a new top end. We're finally rotating out 10 cost Big Mom, guys. Thunderbolt's out too. No recent decks use Thunderbolt though. And that brings us to OP04. So VV nobody ran. And I'm pretty sure a lot of these cards are not going to be run. Oh, the Chopper is rotating out. So Animal Zoro is going to get hit by this. This is actually a really good card for the deck because you can cheat out a second character. Right. As late as OP13, Red Zoro was still placing. So we're losing this Chopper, unfortunately. But I think that's it. That's all we're losing. Yeah, everything else in red, not really run. Green Purple Doflamingo rotating out. So is Isho. Rosanante is going to lose the sugar. That's pretty big, right? Rosanante in PRB02. This guy got 17th with it. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the staple cards for the deck too. It really helps control the early game to mid game even. So that's going to suck for Rosanante players. 10 cost Doflamingo is rotating out. So this is going to hit Bonnie pretty heavily, right? This is like your win condition. So you're losing out on this. Spread Web rotating out. I think some Mihawks even run this. There haven't been any OP14 official events, right? Because I only really care about like Treasure Cups and regionals and like Bandai Card Game Fest. So if it's not one of those tournaments, I don't have it in here, even if there have been like unofficial OP14 tournaments, unfortunately. But this was run in Green Zoro in OP13 and then Smoker before that. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see some Mihawks also run this card. Losing out on Rebecca, the leader entirely, Queen as well. But none of the cards in blue here are really used these days. Nami's going to lose a piece. Yeah, the new blue Nami is just going to be completely gutted after rotation, unless they're going to print more blue East Blue cards. But I don't think they're returning to East Blue anytime soon. So that's unfortunate. Ooh, Red Rock is gone. Okay, this is really huge. Right, I think Boa runs it, Jinbei runs it, Ace runs it for sure. So a lot of decks are going to lose this removal tool. 6 on bottom deck, any cost character. This is actually going to have like lasting meta repercussions. I think it's actually a big hit to a lot of those decks that like to play one big thing and then that control your opponent's big thing so that you have that one big thing difference over your opponent. It's going to be a lot harder to do now. This also makes cards with on KOs a lot more potent because they can't just get bottom deck. This is actually pretty big. We're losing Purple Yellow Croc as a leader and the premier card for his deck and the Miss All Sunday too. It's really just for Purple Yellow Croc. So we're losing all these. In black, we're losing a lot of the Dressrosa stuff. So the Orlumbus to give -4 cost of stuff. Leo to draw a bunch of cards. The Searcher Rebecca too. But I think these days, like, it seems like every Dressrosa leader is kind of independent of each other and they don't really share a lot of the same cards. Like Usopp doesn't run many of these cards, so it's not going to really affect anything but Rebecca. Barrier was a 4K counter that a lot of people used in Emu and stuff. So yeah, we see here in Emu OP13, some people run this card. So it's fine. They got a new one. They got Ground Death, which is a lot better than Barrier. So they're not going to miss this card much at all. The Barto 2K was just a very good generic 2K to just fit into any black deck. That's rotating out as well. And that's it in terms of black. How about yellow? Okay, so the Bedge 2K counter is rotating out. He kind of fell out of popularity in usage anyway though, but was used in a Pudding deck in OP13. We're also losing the blocker Sanji, but people don't really run this card anymore. 9 cost Yamato is pretty big for Enel, right? Enel not really meta relevant anymore, but like back in PRB02, this is one of the ways that you could heal and just live forever. So losing Yamato is pretty big if you still want to play Enel. And that's about it in terms of yellow here, right? I don't recognize anything else as too much to pay attention to. Okay, so now we're moving on to promo cards. So we're losing this Rush Luffy promo, which nobody ran. Yeah, a lot of the promo cards nobody ran anyway. We're losing Gordon, but there's a lot of functional reprints for this guy now. There's this law that is used in some decks, right? In Ace, somebody used it in Ace in OP13. A lot of the red film cards, like this Beppo, are getting rotated out. Oh, we're moving on to starter deck cards. Yeah, so in terms of promo cards, not too much is going to be missed, I don't think. But starter decks, we're losing starter deck 1 Luffy. And then in the deck, there's the blocker Chopper. That's pretty good in a lot of red decks. It's a 1-drop blocker. That's out. The Dawn Shuffle Nami means that Red Green Luffy's gonna have a hard time without this card. What other decks run it? Starter deck 21 Luffy also runs the card. Yeah, this card is gonna suck to lose for a lot of decks that need like Dawn on leader. The Unblockable Luffy is out too. Right, this one was used in a Red Zoro deck as recent as OP13 at Pasadena. Guard points out, but I think there's so many 3k counters for 1 Dawn now that it's not too bad. Oh, Diable Drom's gone. That's gonna be big for a lot of red decks. Straw Hat red decks, right? Animal Zoro completely gutted without this way to bypass blockers and go for game. The Kid deck's gonna be rotated out, so we lose the Restand Law, which is used in like Red Green Law. Really, I think that's about it. Oh, also the Bedge blocker to turn into a red 5 cost is gonna be out, but nothing else really used in the Kid deck anymore. Crocodile rotating out. A lot of the good cards for like a Doflamingo deck, like this Gecko Moria and this Mihawk, they're rotating out. So looks like Blue Doflamingo is just gonna be dead after this set. Oh, the leader itself is gonna be gone too, so you can't really play it anymore. The blocker law is out too. I think a lot of decks still run this, right? No, just Doflamingo. Okay, never mind. I stand corrected. 7 cost Doflamingo is rotating out. I see people run this as like a tech card in Ace as late as OP13. There's this Boa Hancock trigger blocker, but then there's a Salome that just does the same thing. It's just not a Boa Hancock card. Sawblast is being rotated out. A lot of Boa decks are running this just as a counter to the 7 cost Shanks. And it looks like Buggy used to run it too. So that's gonna be gone. But it was just a tech card anyway. Love Beam also rotating out using Buggy. The purple Kaido deck is rotating out. The Queen was one of the best purple cards in a long time. That's out, but these days not too many people ran it anyway. Yeah, purple Luffy and PRB02 here. The ulti page 1 combo is out, but people have shied away from it. I think 9 cost Kaido is still a good card. That's rotating out, unfortunately. Last time we've seen it in a competitive deck is OP10, so we're losing this one. But there's that 7 drop now that almost does the same thing. It doesn't KO, but it still has rush. Lead Performer Disaster is rotating out. A lot of decks did run this card still to ramp with. Right, in PRB02, Luffy ran it. Right, I believe this is blue purple Luffy. We're also losing Blast Breath and Onigashima, so a lot of the Animal Kingdom ramp decks not playable anymore. We're losing the Film Shanks starter deck, it was just the Ein in Red Purple Law, but Red Purple Law is still banned. So Bullet is a tech option in some decks. Right, Blue Purple Luffy in OP13 ran it, but that's about it. Oh, but the Buena Festa is also pretty good if you're running Film as a searcher and 2k counter. The Black Sakazuki deck is gonna miss the Tashigi. Right, this is a pretty good Navy 2k counter option that gives minus cost. Helmet Bow probably not used too much anymore, but used to be a pretty good card to combo with the 8 cost Gecko Moria. And that's about it that we're losing there. We're losing the Big Mom starter deck, so we're losing Brule, trigger blocker here, used as recently as PRB02 in a Katakuri deck. The 7 cost Big Mom, used as recently as OP12. People even consider this like budget Bartholomew Kuma if you can't afford a Kuma, right? Because it still heals you, it doesn't heal on death, and then your opponent has the option to take a life instead. And that's about it for that deck. In the Luffy starter deck 8, we're losing the Uta that gives minus 2 costs. I think a lot of decks were adopting this now if they still wanted to run removal at all. So like Lucci, Sakazuki, they both ran this. But last time we seen it was in a Gecko Moria deck. Yeah, Gecko Moria ran it too in PRB02, the black one. There's a Shirahoshi. This is going to be sorely missed too for a lot of removal decks because it's a blocker that also gave minus 4 costs. Yeah, Gecko Moria ran it in PRB02. That's about it for that starter deck. How about the Yamato one? I think none of the cards in this deck was actually used ever. Maybe Nari Kabura Arrow in a Kalgara deck in OP12, yeah, but that's it. So that's every card that stood out to me that's going to get rotated out. Yeah, some entire decks were just going to get wiped out, right? Like Blue Doflamingo, we saw going to get wiped out. Red Zoro, the Animal Zoro is going to get wiped out. In terms of like what's currently meta, I think a lot of decks that relied on Red Rock, that seems to be the biggest loss, right? Not having Red Rock anymore is going to change how a lot of decks play. It's going to make it a lot easier to run cards like the 8 cost Crocodile from the new Black Crocodile deck, right? His on KO is more relevant than ever since you can't just bottom deck it. It's going to be hard for you to attack into it because if you attack into it, it stuns something on your board. Oh, we're losing the 8 cost Katakuri. I forgot to mention that. I guess I skipped over him. Yeah, used as recently as OP13 in a pudding deck. But I do think that Red Rock rotation seems to be the most meta impact from what I can remember. We did look at a lot of cards here. But yeah, all in all, I don't think rotation is going to change the meta too much. Right, a lot of the decks that would have been viable with block 1 cards, they're not really too meta anymore now anyways. It's really just a Red Rock change. I guess also no 9-beard. So yeah, I think Ace is actually going to get hit the most from this rotation, which actually might affect how the meta is going to be like. Because I'm pretty sure this 9 cost Newgate is mandatory against some of his matchups. So I guess they'll either run the Zoro instead or just tech differently into those matchups, right? Because with I Am Whitebeard, and then if you take a life and you play this Newgate out with it, you become like a 10k base. That's how they like survive like a lethal push from an Emu or something like that. And then Blue Purple Luffy is gonna get hit. Blue Purple Luffy isn't super top meta anymore anyway, and I feel like this was always just like a tech option for the deck anyway. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be the video. We we've concluded that, yeah, it's red blue ace that's gonna get hit the most, and then any deck that relies on red rock gonna get hit a little less than ace does, but still to a pretty good degree. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought, and if I missed any cards, let me know too. That's gonna be it for this video, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Card D Kaizoku.